guys, my name's Lisa,
And I'm Brittany.
and this is the Imperfect Moms Club. For this week's episode, we're doing something a little different. We thought it would be fun to see what the most asked mom questions are on Google and then try to answer them. So here goes.
This episode was really fun to put together. So I was looking for where was the first time that someone said just Google it, because Google is now a verb, right?
Yeah.
Because before it was just a search engine, it was just a noun. So according to Google, October 15th, 2002, the first reference to Google as a verb took place on that date during an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I love that show. Like, real talk, I love that show.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and find it and watch that part where someone said Google it, because now that has forever changed English language.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, because before Google, I remember the website Ask Jeeves. I see Jeeves.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Ask Jeeves, and it was like a little butler guy, and it was so cool. And I was like, you can ask him anything. That was so fun. Yeah, and now my phone will just start talking to me, and I don't even mean to ask it anything. I'll just be talking to my kids, and she'll start telling me a recipe for pancakes, and I'm like, "Whoa, lady, I wasn't talking to you."
I love when my husband and I are talking, and we've been talking for like a while, but then all of a sudden Siri's just like, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. And we're just like, what?
I know it's a little bit creepy, but I mean, it's the way things are. Like, I'm pretty sure my grandma and great grandma were terrified of the government putting, bugs in their phones, and everyone's listening to your conversation. And now everyone is basically like, Google knows everything.
Now that's just commonplace.
Like, so I have some questions here that I'm going to try and answer, and they vary in levels of, I guess, importance. But the first one I picked was, how do moms dress? And my first note under that was, in old clothes, because basically I get the kids new clothes, even though they don't need them, before I buy myself anything. It's just how it is. Like, if I'm working, I'm going to dress for the job that I'm working at. Obviously, like I can't show up to work in sweats. Like, I have to be a teacher and dressed up, but everything is stretchy and wrinkle resistant. Like, I am not going to take time iron anything, and it's got to be stretchy, because bloating is a thing, and periods are a thing. And so I just know I need to be comfortable, I need to be stretchy. And when I'm at home, or like right now I'm on break, again, everything's stretchy. I have my stretchy jeans. I love my stretchy jeans, and just like a basic t-shirt. So my biggest tip for moms, because your postpartum body is just going to look different than your pre-baby body. Like, even if you like drop all the weight and you look in quotations the same, you really don't. Like, your stomach has forever changed. When you find something that fits good and it makes you feel good, buy multiples. Like, if you like, I have multiples of these jeans that I'm wearing. I have like a dark wash and a light wash and like a medium wash, and they all fit me and they make me happy, and they're great. They're from Old Navy, and I'm pretty sure they're from the maternity section, but I don't care. They're fine. They're great. Maternity pants are like a game changer. And yeah, or if you find a shirt and it just makes you feel good, buy just multiple colors of it, and it's fine. You can just be a cartoon character. They open their closet and it's like the same thing. Like, that's your mom clothes. Yeah, that's what you wear. Yeah.
Okay, so real talk, I'm in pajamas or sweats all day most days. As in, I hang out in what I slept in the night before. Gross, probably. Comfortable, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I still shower, guys. I still shower, but I don't like have anywhere to go, so I'm just like totally fine with whatever. Also, you mentioned maternity clothes, so I still rock all of them from both pregnancies. Like, I have 2 pregnancy shirts that are actually like my favorite prints, and so like I just wear those. And I have shorts that are maternity shorts. I'm wearing them right now, actually, but I I always had trouble buying clothes for myself. Like that was always like the toughest thing. I hated doing it. But then as soon as I got pregnant and I bought maternity clothes, I just bought a bunch of stuff really quickly. And I was like, this is cute. This is cute. This fits. This fits. And so I'm just like, why not keep wearing them? It doesn't fit like a glove, I guess, but I mean, it's comfortable, you know? I gotta be comfortable. You know, as a mom, you gotta be comfortable. You're running around chasing small children. Like you don't, you know,
Mhm.
anyway, I've I've also learned that I can't properly mom if I'm not comfortable. Like I
Oh,
said,
no.
like I just yeah, you can't mom properly. Also, I can't mom properly if my hair isn't in a messy bun. Like I can't like if it's in my face, like it stresses me out. Even I mean, whatever I'm doing, even if it's not mom stuff, if, like when I was working and I had hair in my face, that's all I could think about was just there's hair in my face.
Yeah, it's like a sensory thing because you already
Yeah,
have the kids touching you all the time and you're thinking about a million things. Then your hair is all on your face. It's just like, well, I'm just gonna chop it all off.
yeah.
I'm gonna be a pixie cut, and that's just what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and so, like, my
Yeah.
hair's really long now, and so, like, if it's not I mean, it's basically like a curtain, you know, so I just, like, I gotta keep that shit up there, like
Yeah.
and, yeah, so, like I said, as for non-pajama clothes, it's just, like, mostly maternity stuff. I mean, I mean, I probably will eventually buy clothes that aren't maternity stuff, like, I probably will need to buy a new wardrobe at some point, but, I mean, for now, you know, I don't know. Maybe when the kids are in school and I start to think about maybe getting a job, then I'll be like, "Okay, Lisa, like, you're 35 or however old I'll be by then. Maybe it's time you got some grown-up clothes." Comfort over everything. That's my main point.
I tell all my friends, even the ones who like aren't planning on having kids or don't have kids, I'm like, guys, you have got to get yourself a pair of maternity jeans because I'm telling you, those will change your life. You will never find any more comfort. And you just put them on, you pull the little like stretchy part up, and no one needs to know. It's like that
Yep,
Instagram reel. No one needs to know.
and they look
And
fine.
they
They're
look
like it doesn't
great.
look like they're, you know.
Yeah. Like you just put your t-shirt on top and no one knows. And they're just like so good. Like I had a pair, they were my favorite pair. And then I just wore out the crotch. But I was like, these are so great. I can't get rid of these. So I chopped them and I turned them into a skirt.
Oh,
And
nice.
I kept wearing them because I'm like, I love these so much until that fell apart. And then I just got rid of it.
Yeah, man, I love maternity pants. They're great. I never wanna get rid of mine. I'm like, "You know what? Who needs normal jeans?
Yeah.
Screw that." You don't. Okay, so I have a question. So, what do moms do for fun is something that I found. Wine. Just kidding.
Mhm.
I mean, kind of. So I honestly haven't done much for fun lately. For fun without kids, that is. Like I'll go to lunch or get my nails done with a friend. I guess those are like my favorite things to do. Of course, this is me. I'm not talking for all moms, but I went through a craft phase for a few weeks, so I was at Michael's a lot. So like if I needed to escape, I would just tell my husband like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Michael's," and then I'd spend the money that I don't have. um,
But there's a coupon. There's
yeah,
always a
but there's always
coupon.
a coupon. Yeah, they're always giving me like 20% off. And then one day, like I went in there and I looked visibly stressed out and I was checking out and I was trying to find like coins in my purse. And so the cashier was like, girl. So she just gave me her employee discount. And I was like, oh my God, I love you so much. And then I
That's
like
so
skipped out
funny.
of Michael's and I was like, yay. Cause she like, I was like counting like dimes and shit. And she was like, all right, no. Um,
No.
I've probably, since having my newborn, I've been to lunch with a friend one time. So I'm gonna wait until she's a little bit older before I start doing, things for fun. But yeah, that's basically it. I mean, with kids, it's weird because of COVID, but before, like when I had mom friends that I hung out with regularly, we would like go to the Arboretum or we would go to this place called King Spa, amazing in Dallas. It's basically just like you go in there and there's like a water park area for kids, but then there's
Oh,
the spa
cool.
part. Yeah, and there's like a cafe in there, so you could just spend like all day in there. It was pretty awesome, but I mean, since COVID, I don't really hang out with people much anymore, sadly. So But yeah, going to lunch and getting my nails done are like my two favorite things to go do, when I have the time.
I like to go out thrift shopping all by myself, and that's like my way to reset. Like sometimes I find a cute outfit, sometimes I find some home goods or like an antique. I'm like picky about antiques though, because like they're kind of cool, but they can't look like they came from my grandma's house, or like junk. But that's I love doing that. Or like finding something at the antique store that I can like refinish or repaint or something like that. And people are like, "Where'd
Ooh.
you get that?" I'm like, "Well, I bought it for $3 and then I spent $100 on craft supplies. Now it's this thing." So it's like, yeah, you could have got that at TJ Maxx for like $12, but you had to go make it yourself. So
But that's more fun, and you're doing stuff with your hands and being
yes,
creative.
yes.
That's my favorite way to kind of get out of a funk. Like if I'm stressed or whatever, like I just do something creative and then, you feel better. Because your mind is like in
Mhm.
something else. You don't have the time to think about whatever you're stressed about.
All right, my second question. How do moms keep a clean house? Short answer, we don't.
I
So
put that too.
only, yeah, we don't. Okay, I mean, I love looking at Instagram pictures of like different layouts for your living room or your kids' playroom or beds. I love watching people make their beds with like all the pillows and the throw blankets. And then they put like a little tray with like coffee on the corner. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute. But that's not reality. Like, I know that would never work in my house. But like, a lot of them say it's like, yeah, in the front, I'm taking this picture, but behind me, it's like pure chaos and everything's, all messy and crazy. So at our house, we only have a few rooms at a time that are clean. Like the kitchen and the living room will be clean, but like the bedrooms are a disaster. Or the bedrooms are great, but the basement looks like a bomb went off. Like I can't, the entire house, the only time the entire house was clean at one time was when we were trying to get our dog. We adopted this dog and they wanted to come do a home visit, but it was COVID. So I was like, okay, how about instead we do virtual? So I'll send you guys all the pictures. And they're like, okay. But I had my entire house clean so I could take all these pictures. So they'd let me take this dog, but I still had two baskets, laundry baskets of just junk. And I would just move them to a different room. Like if I was trying to photograph the bedroom, I would just move them real quick, take a picture, then put them back,
That's
then
amazing.
photograph the room behind it. Yeah. So I was like, there's no junk here. It's fine. So, and we got our dog, which was great. But I mean, I declutter and I declutter and I declutter and I take stuff to Goodwill and I take stuff to consignment shops and I can't keep the entire house clean all the time. I get the kids to help, and sometimes when they clean up, it's not quite right. Like they just like put things on surfaces. I'm like, no, no, no. Put it in the basket. Like just take an extra 2 seconds and put it away. Half the time I find like pull-ups in the toy bin and it's so gross. Like nasty. So I get them to help. Sometimes I'll make a list for Mike and be like, okay, here's some things I need you to get done today. And I'll say, like, can you clear off your dresser or whatever? And then I have some friends who literally just hire help. Like once every 2 weeks, they have someone come in and just deep clean their house. And I'm like, that sounds like a dream. Like I would love that. I totally love that.
We have somebody that we call sometimes, but like we can't afford like every other week. So like I mean, if things are getting particularly nasty in our house, then I'll be like, hey, Paul, like, can we please pay this lady $100 to come over, But yeah, other than that, so there's two things that I absolutely like have to for like my anxiety do, or three things. So the bed has to be made. Our
Mhm.
bed has to be made every day. The dishes have to be like put away or in the dishwasher. Like they can't be like piles in the sink. And then I've been getting really crazy about the hardwood floors. Like, and I think I clean when I'm stressed because I've been very stressed lately, and the hardwood floors have been like pretty immaculate lately too. So
You could
I'm
eat
like,
off of them.
I think there's a correlation there. But yeah, I've been pretty crazy about like vacuuming. I have this amazing, it's called a Shark vac mop.
I've heard so many good things about that.
Oh my God, it is like the most beautiful bastard you've ever seen in your life. It is basically a mop and a vacuum. And so there's a button for the vacuum, and then, you can squirt and mop stuff, and it's beautiful. And it's wonderful. And I love it. And it was $100. And so I'm like constantly with that thing like all day. And I annoy my husband because you vacuum something and then you let your finger off the trigger. And so like he's watching a show and then he's just because I'm like not constantly vacuuming like those big. So there's nothing I hate more in this world than those big vacuums that have like the really long cord. I will not vacuum with one of those. Like I refuse. Like I refuse to do that because like F that thing a lot. And so I just use my little back mop on hardwood floors. But anyway, those are the three things that I need to do. So I'll make sure that those are done every day. But then as far as the rest of my house, I mean, our living room just looks like a tornado hit it most of the time. And there's nothing, I mean, my daughter, Lily just likes to play with everything she owns all the time. So, I mean, I've taught her to help me clean up her room. So the nursery, like I'll tell her, I'll be like, do you want to clean up your blocks? She goes, yeah. And she'll like sing a cleanup song. Like she'll put blocks away and be like, clean up, clean up. And it's like the cutest thing ever. So that helps. But as far as like the living room, I mean, I've given up at this point. Like I'm like, it's just gonna look like a mess all the time.
Yeah.
And that's just gonna have to be okay. As long as I get those 3 anxiety things done, then I feel fine. I feel okay. I don't know. If someone's coming over for like if my mother-in-law is coming into town or something, then I'll make sure that everything's clean. But yeah. I mean, if it's just me and my husband, I don't care.
Yeah. I just went to a play date for my kids. Like I didn't have the play date. My kids had the play date. I mean, it was nice for me too, because I got to talk to another mom. But she had this like beanbag chair and she showed it to me. There's this massive zipper in the back and you open it up and she just shoves it full of her kids' dress up clothes and stuffed animals, anything squishy. She says, she tells her kid, at the end of the day, like, okay, anything squishy, throw it in the bean bag. And it all just goes in this giant pile. There's no rhyme or reason to it. She zips it up, flips it over, and it's put away. And I was like, I need that. I need that. And I bet a mom came up with that because a mom probably had one of those classic beanbag chairs and was like, but if I make that zipper a little bigger, I can shove all these toys in here.
Like all furniture should be storage. Like if you buy a couch, like have a thing under it that like, so you could just throw stuff in there,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
How do moms make friends? So
that's a good question.
Explain this to me. Yeah. If someone can tell me the answer to this question, that'd be great. Because I have no idea. Being a stay-at-home mom is super isolating. And then on top of that, just making friends as an adult, even without kids, is pretty hard. So yeah, I've got a few mom friends, that I used to hang out with all the time before COVID. But yeah, we don't really see each other anymore. It's hard to get yourself out of the house, and after this long of being like just us, like it's harder now. Like as much as I'd want to go out and like meet people, like I'm just like used to being at home, so it's hard. But Lily is actually going to be starting this part-time preschool pretty soon. We found one near us that's actually meant for stay-at-home parents. It's just like a 2-hour, a few days a week thing. And so like all of the parents are stay-at-home parents. And so I'm like, oh my God, I can meet people.
You can drop off your kids together and then you can just both leave together.
Yeah, we can go get coffee or something. Like that would be amazing. That'd be the best because it's only 2 hours. So it's not like I'll have time to go home anyway. Yeah, so that'll be really exciting for me. But yeah, making mom friends is hard. It's just we're all at home and we're all stuck at home. We all like feel gross and we're all in sweatpants and we don't want to get out of our sweatpants, like to leave your house, you have to put on real clothes. And most of the time we're like, you know what? No, I'll just stay home and be gross. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough. So if anybody has an answer for me, then feel free to reach out.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably a lot easier to make mom friends once your kids are at preschool or in a school setting, because then you like maybe run into people at the same time at drop off, or at, you go to the little kids concert at the end of the year and you're like, oh, hey, Susan, or I don't know who Susan is, but somebody. So then you like start to meet people, and then like your kids get invited to birthday parties and all that. Like my kids are old enough now, like we're starting to do birthday parties, and it's funny because they'll see some other random kid they've never seen there before, and they're like, we're best friends and they're coming over tomorrow for a sleepover. And I'm like, I have no idea who this child is. Like, no. I don't know this person. But they like have it all planned out, and then we're in the car like, I can't wait until Charlotte comes over for a sleepover. I'm like, I don't even know where she lives. I don't know anything about this Charlotte girl. So kids make friends so much faster and easier than grown-ups
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I think the last time really that like adults have to make friends easily is college. Because college,
Mhm.
everyone's together all the time. And so, it's so easy in college and you're hanging out and stuff. And like a lot of times I miss college just for that, like just because like it's a bunch of people all in one place and you can make friends and stuff. But yeah, after college, it's just like, well,
Yes, well, because especially my last year, because that's when everything got really saturated with like, okay, you're going into childcare. Here's all the other people at this school who also like kids and who also are going into childcare. So you have all your classes with these same people. And we got so close and so tight. And then they're like, okay, here's your diploma. Everyone scatter. And I'm like, wait, no, I have to go be with old people now. Like, I don't want to. I want to stay with all the girls.
yeah.
But we obviously can't all teach at the same school. We're all trying to teach the same age. So it's not gonna work. Yeah, we had like a Facebook group that we tried to keep up with, and I posted in it a couple times and like no one responds. And I'm like, okay, fine, be that way. Fine. Oh my. All right, another question I had. How do moms know everything? We don't. That's like my answer for everything. We don't. We don't do any of these things. But it made me dive into like something happens to the woman's body while they're pregnant. Like all these chemicals are happening and hormones and stuff. Like all of your priorities change. And like the only thing you care about is the safety of your child, which is why they say like if you see a baby bear, like don't go anywhere near it because the mama bear is going to come out and like kill you.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually driving once and there was a baby bear in the middle of the road. I'm like, keep driving. I don't want to be anywhere near this thing because I know mommy's close. Yeah, like just go around it. We have different priorities and our biases are different because we just want everything for our kids. We want complete safety. And so intuition is kind of like, it's like that gut feeling you get in your stomach because there's chemicals or something in your stomach that talks to your brain or vice versa. So when you have a gut feeling about something, you're always supposed to listen to it. But then I was also looking into it. I'm like, well, how do you know if it's a gut feeling or if I'm just like being anxious? Because that happens all the time where I'm like, am I just overthinking everything or is this like a real gut feeling I need to be listening to? So anxiety can disguise itself as intuition sometimes. And to know if you're having mother's intuition talking to you, you have to be in a calm, like a calm state. You need to be in a good place, like not in a place where you're feeling like super stressed out or whatever. And then that's how you know you're having intuition talk to you. Whereas on the opposite, anxiety is when you're like freaking out and you could be possibly having like a panic attack or you're overthinking everything and you're just like not in a good headspace. That's the difference between those two things. But I also wondered how that worked for moms who have trouble getting pregnant and who end up adopting, because I know they have mother's intuition
Yeah.
and they don't have that chemical change during pregnancy. So I don't know. It's something that scientists talk a lot about, but they can't like pinpoint it and be like, oh, here it is. It's right here. This one little piece in your DNA,
Yeah,
here
I
it
mean,
is.
scientists still can't figure out why we sleep. So like
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. But yeah, I think that's why sometimes kids think their moms know everything. It's like we just have
yeah.
the intuition. Also, I trick my kids. I will trick my kids and my kindergartners until the day I die. I'll see them doing something that they're not supposed to. So I'm like looking at them and I will intentionally turn my body the other direction. And I'll say, hey, Johnny, can you please stop poking your friend with your pencil? And when they hear me, they see I'm not looking at them. And so they're like, how did she know?
Oh
You know,
my God.
she has eyes.
It's
Or
magic.
like my daughter one time, she was like 3 and she didn't want to do something. I can't remember what it was. So she starts going down the hallway and I just heard this and I knew that was her tongue sticking out. And I was like, get back in here. I said, don't you stick your tongue out at me. And she's like, how did you know? I'm like, that wasn't too hard to figure out, but mommy knows everything.
That's awesome.
Little mind games.
This one annoyed me, so I wanted to like talk about it. What do stay-at-home moms do all day?
Oh, I hate that.
I hate this question, but I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna answer it. So honestly, this question has me rolling my eyes completely outside of my head. Because we do everything, everything from 7 a.m. to now 3 a.m. in the next morning. I'm feeding my newborn, bathing babies, vacuuming, preparing toddler meals, playing, changing diapers, tummy timing, sometimes showering. Like I'm doing a lot of stuff. So I hate this question so much because like I don't know, like people think that because they don't have a conventional job, it means they don't do anything, but that's yeah, that's bull honky, you
Well,
know.
because sometimes you have to like not only bathe your baby, sometimes you have to do it multiple times a day. Like these kids go through sometimes 5 onesies before
Yep.
the end of the day because
Yep.
they're just getting so dirty. You're trying to keep this tiny human alive and they don't understand how gravity works. And you're like, no, don't climb off the couch. You can't do that. And yeah, it's like that meme. It's like, honey, either the house is clean or I'm clean. You can't have both. Or there's another one, it's like my husband asked, not my husband, this is just a meme. If you're home all day, why isn't the house clean? And I asked, well, if you work all day, why aren't we rich? It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't. I love it when my husband is home alone with the kids and he'll call me and he sounds really stressed out. And I'm like, oh, what's wrong? You can't find the goldfish? What? Oh, did they poop? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds terrible.
Oh, wow. I've never done that for me. Oh, there was one time
Oh.
before he really understood. So I think it was Molly who had just thrown up like all the way down the hallway. It was disgusting. And I was trying to wash her in the bathtub and she's crying and I was working, but obviously I called in and I'm like, I can't come into work today because my baby's throwing up. So on his way out the door, he is like, have a good day off. And I was like, you get back in here
Oh
right
my God.
now. And I was like, no, this is not a day off. You see all that vomit up and down our hallway? I have to clean all that up. And oh, I was so mad.
Oh
So
no.
he's come a long way, but I was like, don't you dare call this a day off.
Oh man. Something that people don't think about. I honestly didn't think about this until it was a mom friend that told me, you're not just physically busy, but you're mentally busy too. Because my mind is always on what is Lily doing? What does she need? When is she going to need something next? Like my newborn is sleeping right now. When is she going to wake up? Like it's constantly, it's always so loud in my head. And so
Mhm.
even if I'm sitting there scrolling on my phone, I'm never off. Like I'm always hyper focused on my kids. And so even that is exhausting. Like if somebody were to like see me, they'd be like, "Why are you so tired? You just sat there." I'm like, I just mentally I don't stop. And you don't
Mhm.
stop as a mom. Like it's amazing. Like we're incredible beings. Like the fact that people still think that we do nothing all day, like no, like screw that person. Like you don't need that
Mhm.
negative energy in your life. That you're
Mhm.
never resting really.
Right. Even at bedtime, like if I'm trying to fall asleep, I have to listen to something, the radio, a podcast, an audiobook, something, because if my brain isn't focusing on something that I'm listening to, it just goes everywhere. It's like, okay, Molly's almost out of her shoes. You got to make sure you get her size up for sandals, and then oh, you have that one thing coming up, and make sure that you wash Claire's bed sheets because it's been way too long. It just goes, and then you start getting anxious about things that'll never happen, and then you start having arguments that will never happen, and you think of all the 10 different ways it could go. It's a
Yeah.
lot. So I have to have noise to fall asleep. Guys are so different where they can just sit there and think of nothing. And I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
like, even if I'm showering and it's, like, comfortable in the shower, like, I'm having, like sometimes I have, like, fights with people in my mind in the shower, like, my shampoo bottle's like, because like,
Yeah.
I'm 'cause I'm like, I don't know, my brain never shuts off, and, I mean, that's anxiety, but it's also being a mom too, and then, like, I don't know if you get this, but the phantom baby crying.
Oh, yeah.
So, if it's, like, 3 AM or something, and Lily was up for some reason, and I got her down, but I will still hear her crying for the rest of the night, even though
Mhm.
she's not crying. One time, it was so crazy, I actually thought she was, like, legitimate, like, I was like, "This is not just in my head," and I woke my husband up, and he was like, "Lisa, I don't hear anything." And I was like, "What is my problem?" Like,
Mhm.
I was like, "It's 3 in the morning, I just need to sleep," but, like, this, I just hear crying all the time, and so it's very, very, it's stressful, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So yeah, I mean, nobody is allowed to say that stay-at-home moms do nothing. I'm
Mm-mm.
making that a law right now.
Yeah. It's already a full-time job there, and you can't call in sick, you know?
Yeah.
You can't. Because we had, I was sick for about a week this past winter, and at first we thought it was COVID, so we were all freaking out, and I had to do the test, and that was awful, and blah blah blah. So I had to stay home, obviously, and it ended up just being a cold. But I also had to keep my daughter home from daycare because she wasn't allowed to go because we didn't know what was going on with me. I still had to watch her. Like I still had to feed her and make sure she went potty. Thankfully, she was potty trained and all this stuff. And I'm like all congested. And I feel gross and I'm like head hurts. I still have to like keep this tiny person alive and entertain her somehow. Like
Yep.
you don't get to call in sick. You can't. One of my other questions I got was how do moms do it all? And that kind of goes along with this one. Again, we don't do it all. So, but the way it seems like we do it all, I wrote down is that we often sacrifice our basic needs to take care of our family's
Yes.
needs. So,
Yeah.
like, stuff still gets done, but stuff for us doesn't get done. And like before kids, I spent a lot more time and money on myself. And it wasn't like bad. Like that's just how it was. I was like, I want a new shirt, or I'm gonna go get my hair done, or I'm gonna spend 30 minutes putting my makeup on. That's just kind of how it was. But now I look like a hot mess, but my kids look great and they've got cute outfits. Like, their shoes match their shirt, and uh, and the beds are made. And I remember the dentist appointment, but I look awful. I look like a hot mess. Just because when you're a mom, you just, you push your needs aside. That's why I think moms don't eat very well. Like we don't have great nutrition most of the time. It's hard to get like a workout in. It's hard to like keep some of your hobbies up and stuff like that because we're always focusing so much on our kids. So it's a game trying to figure out that balance where you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your family.
Yeah, and depression too, like that's where depression like definitely comes in because you're so hyper focused on making sure that they have everything that all of a sudden you're declining, your mental health is declining, but you don't even notice until it's like really, really bad. And then you're like, oh my God, what's going on? And then you're angry all the time, or you're fighting with your husband all the time, or, whatever. And so I mean, even the word all, like saying we do it all, we do most,
Hmm.
but all would mean that we're also taking care of ourselves, which I mean, a lot of times we aren't. So I'm really bad at taking care of myself, like really bad at it. Even before I
Yeah.
had kids, I was, but I mean, now it's way worse.
I'm really bad at buying myself underwear. I don't know. Like I have had the same bras for years, like to the point where like the underwire will come out and I'm just like, it's fine. And I'll pop the other one out so at least they match. And like underwear, I've had some of the same underwear since college just because I'm like, oh, I don't need anymore. It's fine. But then I'll buy my daughter like new shoes and a new toy, or I'll take them out for Happy Meals or whatever, but I won't buy myself basic stuff. And my husband's like, Brittany, please just come on. Like when I make lunches for my kids, I make sure that they have an abundance of snacks and things in their lunch boxes, and my husband too, because he's Mr. Dairy Free and fancy and whatever. But then I'll just grab whatever for me. Like even if I'm making myself just like a snacky lunch, I won't even take like the deli meat out of the baggie and put it in a container. I just grab the whole bag. So I'm like, I'm not going to dirty this. Maybe that's smart. Maybe that's not me not taking care of myself. Maybe that is taking care of myself.
What do moms want after birth? And then what do moms need after birth? So so I put for want, I put flowers. I wanted flowers. So I don't know about other moms, but I was so excited when my mom had flowers and balloons ready at my house. Like when got home with Holly, it was like the best because, like you want to still feel like you're a big deal, right? Like, I mean, it's all about the baby, but like it's not all about the baby. Like it's also about like the mother that pushed the baby out of her, right? So I don't know. I wanted, flowers. I wanted something like I wanted something. I wanted like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, or like, oh, you did this or whatever. But a lot of times I feel like people, not that they forget about the mom, but like it's really easy to just focus on, oh my God, the baby, but
Hmm.
we want to feel like we still matter.
Yeah.
Like when I had postpartum depression, a lot of it was because I felt like I had all of a sudden I was in the background and I wasn't important anymore, even though, I'm mom, so I was helping keep this little baby alive. It still felt like, oh, I'm not important anymore. It's
Hmm.
all about them now and it's not about me. And I mean it isn't because, it's all about my kids, but I don't know, you just, you want to feel like people still care about you and that you're still valid and that you still matter because you do. We still matter.
I also feel like, while you're pregnant, everyone's like, oh, you're glowing, you're so beautiful, your hair, which yes, the hair is a great thing because
Yeah.
that's awesome. But everyone's like wanting to touch your belly, and like I was never really into that. I was like, please don't touch me. But some people are like, whatever, you do you. But then after you have your baby, like if you don't lose that, baby weight right away, you start getting looks, or like people start shaming you a little bit. Like not necessarily like my close friends, but just trolls on the internet or whatever. You just don't feel as good. And it's like, how come
Yeah.
like this body like finished the race? Like I did the thing, and
Yeah.
so like how come we're not admiring? I don't know. It feels like there's a definite shift, as soon as you're
Yeah.
done being pregnant.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and I don't understand that. I don't understand even beyond that other moms that shame other moms for like not bouncing back or whatever. Like really, like I I mean, I'm glad that you were able to, but I mean, it doesn't work that way for everybody. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even though the baby's not in there, like I still, like you said, you still did the thing. I mean, the baby
Mm-hmm.
was in there, right? Like it's not like all of a sudden I'm no longer a woman that had a baby. I did have, my body is still a mom body, right?
Mm-hmm.
The mom bod, like a lot of people talk about like, oh, postpartum body is gross. I mean, I've been there, like I've done that too. Like there's that 2 week period after you give birth where you're like, all right, I look way good. But then like I'm 2 months in and I'm like, I look like crap, right? But, but I mean, it's still like mom bod should be something that's celebrated, no matter what it looks like. Like what you're hearing so far? Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you, and we really love sharing with you guys. Now back to the show. I wanted to finish off with, finish my questions with something funny. So, what do moms need after birth? You need adult diapers. You
Yes.
needed, so my first pregnancy with Lillian, I didn't know about these until after, so I didn't have them. But with Holly, I definitely had like a pack of them because at the hospital they give you like this giant pad and these like mesh undies that like don't fit, and then you're walking around like you pooped your pants. And then but they have these things called adult diapers. I would buy the Always brand Caress. Oh my god, they, first of all, they're cute, like they put like bows on them and stuff,
Oh.
and they're so comfortable, and you just don't have to worry about it. You're just like, you're bleeding a ton, but it's
Mm-hmm.
okay because I got this cute underwear, and like I don't look like I'm bleeding a ton, right? Like, so I still wear them. Like, after my first pregnancy, my periods got heavier. So yeah, they're definitely a lifesaver for those. Like, that like second day when your period's like heavier than
Oh
normal.
yeah.
Yeah, so they're great. And you can just
Yeah.
wear them all day and, whatever, it's Yeah, so definitely moms need adult diapers. So any moms that are
Mhm,
listening, if you're trying to like make a list of things to take to the hospital with you, buy some adult diapers right now. Do it
mhm.
right now. I'll wait.
Yeah. I remember my brother walking in, and I can't remember if this was at the hospital or if this was just at home after I had Molly. So it's, and I don't know why I told him this because he's so squeamish, and I just did, probably because I was like still on drugs or something. But I was sitting there, and I had my little newborn in my lap, and then I think Clara was sitting next to me on the couch, and I just looked at him and I said, "We are all wearing diapers," and he was like, "Ugh." Gross. So I was like, "Yeah, all three of us." Just how it goes. I used to take like the really big like maxi pads and I would cover them in aloe and I'd stick it in the freezer. So good.
Oh my god, that sounds awesome.
Right. Well, because I tore really bad with Clara. With Molly, I didn't need it so much, but with Clara, I tore so bad. And that was like, oh, I felt amazing. So good. We need food. Like after you have give birth, I'm not cooking. Like someone just bring me a bunch of freezer meals.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need you just to order. And like everyone's different, but I think to play it safe, like don't stick around for like half an hour. Just kind of like drop off the food. And if they're like, oh, you want to see the baby? Then yes, then you may stay for 5 minutes and see the baby and then you leave. Okay. But
Yeah.
if not, just kind of drop, say, hey, here you go. And then just leave. Just leave because everyone's exhausted, everyone's tired, no one's showered and who knows how long, everyone's smelly, the baby's smelly, mommy's smelly. Just drop off the food and go. That's the best thing you could do.
Yeah, food is definitely yeah, and, like, don't just give me food, but could you, like, feed it to me too? Like,
I
be like, "Okay, Lisa, open your mouth," like,
yeah,
"Here's
just
some
yeah.
pizza."
So, because I've brought food over to my friends who've had babies, and if it's like their first baby, I'll just bring like mom and dad a meal over, and maybe some fun iced coffee or something. If they have other kids, I always pack something fun for the kids. So like
Aw,
they'll be like, I'll make like something with like a lot of cheese in it because cheese is delicious. And so I'll like pack a whole dinner in there and I'll have like a bag of like the pre-made salad. I'll throw that in there. If they want it, if they don't want it, that's fine. And then I'll buy like gummies or some cookies or just something fun for the other kids too, because they don't want to feel left out. And mom and dad are really busy. So if they can just like throw a bag of gummies at them and it gives them 5 or 10 minutes of peace and quiet, like I'm more than happy to provide that.
yes.
My last question: why are moms so tired? Like, why are you even asking me this?
I
Hello.
wonder.
I wonder why. So, moms answer on average about 300 questions from their children a day. So, if you have multiple children, you're answering 300 questions per child. I'm tired because half the questions are, why do dogs have four legs? Why are strawberries red? I don't know. I just
I
do. Like,
haven't gotten there with Lily yet, but yeah, I'm dreading that. Like, I saw a GIF or a GIF or however you pronounce it. I saw one
I,
of those.
I I don't know how to say it either. So
And it was like this mom listening to her child ask questions and talk, and like as the kid's talking, she's pouring wine, and like the wine's just like the glass is getting more and more full, and like wine is falling out of the glass. And I was like, "That's gonna be me."
yeah, just put a straw in it at that point.
Yeah, in the
It's not even
bottle.
like why dirty the cup? I
Oh my
just
god, yeah.
I don't I don't know. It's just all over the place. And like I want to answer their questions because they're being inquisitive, they're being curious, and that's how they learn. So I try and answer, but then I'm like, I'm so tired. Like, I don't know, honey. Mommy doesn't know everything. Like, you don't? I'm like, well, okay. Mommy needs a coffee before we talk anymore. Okay. Why don't you ask your dad? Just go ask him. Um, so the another reason why we're so tired, again, is like with the mental load that you were talking about. So on average, the average person, guy or girl, makes 3,500 decisions a day. So you're
Dang.
deciding like, am I going to hit the snooze button? Am I going to get up? What shirt am I going to wear? Whatever. All of those amount to 3,500
Dang.
quite decisions a day that you're making. So when you're a mom, you have to make all those decisions for yourself, and then you also have to do them for your kids.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's just a lot. Like not only are we running around and physically doing a lot, but the mental load is just huge.
Yeah.
It's just massive.
Right now I have like a pretty ridiculous vitamin D deficiency. Like I'm literally on prescription strength because it's so low. So like that already has me really exhausted feeling, but I mean on top of that, yeah, being a mom and then having a newborn and having my toddler, like, she's so active. Like I love her and she's so smart, but I
Mhm.
just like sometimes I just want to sit on the couch and I'm just like, can you go play, and
Mhm.
it's funny because my husband is always saying when she's just with him, like if I'm doing my podcast, I'm doing this podcast right now, for example. If she were awake, she's napping right now, but if she were awake, she'd be playing by herself, right? But as soon as mommy comes in the room, like she just wants mommy and she wants to climb all over me like I'm a jungle gym and all these things, and so if I don't give her everything, all of me that she wants, she like throws a tantrum and I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm so
Mhm.
tired. I'm up to like 3 or 4 cups of coffee per day now, which is hilarious because before I became a mom, I didn't like coffee at all. And so it's always funny to me that I used to hate coffee and then now I'm drinking like 4 cups of it a day. Like I'm
Yeah,
just like,
like
what
just
happened?
it needs to be an IV, and I'll just tote the little like cart around.
Yes, I would walk around. I would totally walk around with some caffeine like hooked up
Yeah,
to me. That sounds dope.
I would make it work. I know it'd be a hassle, but I would make it work. Like, yes.
Oh my God.
I'm always drinking coffee. Oh my. Yeah, I probably drink too much, but oh well, it's just how
Coffee's
it is.
great. Coffee's great. But if you have a vitamin D deficiency, it doesn't really work,
No.
which is what I'm struggling with right now. Because I'm constantly feeling like I could just like fall over at any minute. So the fact that I'm still able to take care of both my kids, but I started my prescription, so it's like one pill a week, but it's like 50,000 IU's of vitamin D or something crazy, and so hopefully I'll start feeling better by next week.
Mm.
I hope so.
Yeah, it needs like a week to kick in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a friend, and it annoyed me so much. And I still remember it to this day. I was telling her how tired I was, but I was like, man, I'm just so tired. And she's like, well, why don't you just go to bed earlier? And I was like, it doesn't work that way. So no, she didn't have
Oh my
kids.
God.
And I'm like, first of all, I can't because I have a kid and whatever. And then second of all, yeah, I do stay up late because that is me time. Like
Yeah.
when everyone else goes to sleep, that is my time to be myself and not have to worry about getting a juice box or letting the dog out or whatever. I can just scroll on my phone. I can do Pinterest. I can watch murder mysteries. I can go downstairs and paint something. I can do anything I want. And like, I need that. That is for my sanity. I will not go to bed early and give that up. That is my precious time.
Yeah, like, even if you know you're gonna be way exhausted the next day, like, you still stay up. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
so the way we are doing things now with Holly being so little is Paul will stay up till 2 in the morning, and I go to bed, around 9, or I should go to bed around 9 so that I can get a good amount before I have to be up with her and potentially not sleep anymore. But yeah, no, I've been staying up till, like, 11 the past few nights just because it's so nice to just be able to watch whatever I want on TV. Like I
Mhm.
could just do whatever I want. Like I could just, if I don't want to think about my kids for 5 minutes, I won't. I'll think about what I'm watching on TV. Like right now I'm watching The Circle on Netflix. It's actually like a lot better than I thought it would be. So anyway, I recommend it. But so I'm watching that and it's a reality show and it's kind of stupid, but it's also kind of good. So
It's comforting to know that these are the top questions about moms on Google because it just goes to show that nobody knows what they're doing because
exactly.
everyone's asking, how do you do this?
Yeah.
These are just the top questions, and there's more. We didn't do all of them, but there's a lot of how do moms do this? Why do moms do that? Blah 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 blah, and everyone's asking the same questions. So and I think that's just kind of comforting to know that we're all in this together and we're all trying to figure this out.
Yeah, it is really comforting. Moms unite. Like we're all in this together.
Need
We're
a
all
t-shirt.
confused as shit together.
What's happening?
Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of the Imperfect Moms Club. If you like what you heard, please visit our website at www.imperfectmomspodcast.com. There you'll find more information about us, a list of all our episodes, a blog, and even a merchandise shop. We love this podcast so much and are thrilled to be able to share it with all of you.